idle hands are the devil's playground.
Hey, what's happening? So, another fun, exciting episode of Idle Hands Workshop. We are going to be doing something that many others have done in the past, and I'm going to do it now too, because hey, join the club, right? All right, so what we're going to be doing is we're going to be corpsing a skeleton, okay? So, I have my skeleton that I just purchased from Spirit Halloween, and might I add, this is gonna be the best deal on the market right now, because yes, he does retail for $49.99. That seems kind of stiff, right? Kind of like this guy. But if you have a coupon, they have a one-time use coupon for anything in the store or online for 25% off. So do the math, and you're getting this guy out the door for like, what, $37, depending on what your sales tax is in the area. So that's the cheapest skeleton you're gonna find. Skeletons are typically $35, $40 on the very low end, and on the high end, they're like $50, $60. So let's free this guy. All right, so what I thought I would do for this guy is I bought some first dollar store find right here. Boom, plastic eyeballs. What do you get there? 4x3, get 12 for $1. Not bad. By the way, did you guys hear the dollar store or the Dollar Tree or whatever is actually going to raise their prices because, you know, inflation, I guess. So that kind of sucks. So I like the Dollar Tree. It's pretty cool. Anyway, got that for $1. I got these nifty scissors, ooh, for $1. I got a nice angle in there, so they cut pretty good. Got this little X-Acto knife set, or whatever you call it, hobby knife set. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 blades. You can change them out. Isn't that cool? $1, not bad, huh? So what I did, I'm gonna see if these fit good. Whoa. I cut one of these plastic eyeballs, or two of these, in half. Now, I have a Dremel, and I cannot find my adapter to make it work. So what did I use? I just used a hacksaw. And if you want to get real cheap, you could probably get hacksaw blades. You don't need the handle at the dollar store, or Dollar Tree, whatever, and cut these in half. All right. Just a little finagling. Believe it or not, these eyeballs appear to fit. Let me pop them in and we'll get a close-up. Okay, there he is. Look at that. Pretty neat, huh? If you're a crafter, another thing I'd recommend. Ryobi actually has the, you know, their battery packs that are interchangeable. Like I got a weed whacker that's Ryobi, a circular saw, all kinds of stuff. But they have a hot glue gun. It actually works pretty good. So when the battery's in, you just flick it on, let it warm up a little bit, and basically it is just like a heavy duty glue gun. I kind of like it because I can move them around. There's no wires. Set it there, boom. I got some fall colors, or not fall colors, I guess gore colors. All right, check it out. Each one of these, of course, $1. So we got our black. Gotta have black. Everything's gotta have black. We've got red oxide. Isn't that kind of a funky red, kind of a pussy red? And then we got deep green, another nice color. I was gonna get bright yellow or canary yellow, but they had deep yellow. Ooh, isn't that cool? And then deep brown. Yeah, they had a bunch of other colors. I could have got white. Probably should have got white to kind of help lighten up colors. But if I use dry brushing techniques and whatnot, probably don't need it, the white to balance, so let's get some glue on the eye socket. Alright. The other one in. For what I want to do. And you'll see the ultimate. And if you want, save the white half, because, you know, you can do cool things with it, or, you know, whatever. We can use whites on another skeleton, so. The technique I'm going to use, I might use a couple techniques, just depends on how things go. But I'm going to use the plastic shrink wrapping technique. And for $1, once again, at Dollar Tree, look at this. Drop cloth. 9 foot by 12 foot. That's a lot of plastic, guys. For $1. I mean, you can kind of see why I love this place. So let's cut off a small piece. I have to wrap this guy's head. I'm just going to cut it, even though I know it's 9 foot wide, I'm just going to cut like this. Just so it's easier to work with. Pretty good. Alright, what we'll do is we'll glue it from the back so we don't have any seams. So, alright, we're going to run some glue on his spine, up the seam of his head. Like so. Tacked in a lot of different places. The neat thing is if you're like me and you're working under a black light, you really probably can't see it too well, but I have a black light, whoop, back over there. Hot glue is black light responsive, is UV responsive, so it glows kind of bluish purple, and you can really see where your glue's at, which actually makes this job a lot easier. Let's move on to the torso. I should probably loosen this up because all I'm doing is grinding plastic. Man, that was painful. But let's get a nice bead going down the spine. It is so hot, it is like steaming everywhere. We want to overlap the other one just a little bit. And then run down our spine. That makes it a lot easier. Real quick. Quick like a button. Alright. good. That's looking pretty good, pretty good. So I cut some of this extra shoulder plate there. That down. Ooh, that's hot. That's hot. That's hot, 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 hot food. It's hot. It's hot. All right. Well, that is looking good. Now this process is pretty much the same with the arms and legs. So instead of boring out that part, we're just gonna skip that. And okay, now comes the more enjoyable part. I don't care for the hot gluing that much, just because I want to burning myself 150,000 times, and it gets old. This is the therapeutic part, doing the actual shrink wrapping. Let's take our little sharp knife, and what we need to do is I want to cut open a hole for the mouth. I'm going to carefully cut a slit across the center of the eyeball so we get eyelids. Some ribs, so we can show some ribs. So cut in the middle of that. You can do as many or as few as you want. It doesn't matter. Each one's unique. Just looking. And then the next thing you need to get is a heat gun. I recommend a heat gun over a hairdryer just because it's easier to control. They get hotter, faster, and yeah, it's just easier to work with. So Harbor Freight again, you can get a cheap one. I don't know what they're like 10 bucks. They're not that expensive. Maybe not even that. Intense the heat's gonna get. So unless you're trying to melt plastic, you know, it's actually a sphincter. Front's tightening up a little bit. Let's tighten it up a little bit more. Hey, what's happening? All right. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna clean this barrel, right here behind me, and get it prepped for painting. So it's a windy day, so hopefully you can hear half of what I'm saying. Here we go. All right, and you may ask me, where did I find such a lovely barrel, plastic barrel, 55-gallon drum? Well, this is from behind a car wash. So when they buy car wash chemicals, they come in drums like this for the soaps and everything. And a lot of times they just write, boom, free right on there, and you can grab it. You have yourself a nice barrel. I do recommend clearing them out really good because the chemicals that are in there probably not too good for pumps and whatnot. Once the wind is blowing ferociously, this thing should dry pretty quick. Let's take a look at the template I made. We're going to do a radioactive barrel. All right, so how did I do this? Well, this thing is pretty large. You could probably just buy a sticker, but I didn't want to. I mean, this thing's like almost a foot and change across. Actually, it's a couple foot almost. It's pretty big. How did I do this? Well, I printed these off in sections, and then I glued the back. So like each one of these things is on one piece of paper, and then I printed a center one with the other ones to get the proper spacing and alignment. And then I used toothpicks and glued it to hold the spacing. Now there's a little bit of space between there, so I should be able to get the paint to get behind it a little bit. But you'll see what I'm talking about once I get it on here. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Yep. All right. So what we're gonna need to do is place a bunch of double back tape here. I would use regular painter's tape. A warmer day with wind is not the hardest thing to paint in, just not the funnest. Okay, this is the fun part. I'm just using a little Rust-Oleum flat. The reason for flat is so it doesn't reflect light as much. Because of the wind. You're going to have to do this in coats if you're going to do this on a windy day like me, because if you overspray, you're going to get drip. It is super hard to do. Well, one can of paint pretty much does 2 coats on here. She's good and dry to the touch. Not cured, but we don't need it cured. Let's start with the mask. Okay, so what our goal here is I want the symbol itself to be black and the rest to be yellow. So I'm going to line this up best I can, make it straight. Put it on the line so it's easier to figure out what's straight and what's not. What I found is this pinstripe stuff at O'Reilly's, and it's 1/4 inch, 40 foot. Let's see if I can make this stuff work. I don't know if you can do radiuses with this or not. Man, did that work splendidly. That's beautiful. Remember these things, these antiques that came in the mail called a phone book? Yeah, this is what I use them for. I'm going to try to keep straight on to the edges so I don't get any spray past my mask. There we go. All right, looking good. Before we attempt to move this, we are going to let this thing dry. And by dry, I mean get pretty dang dry. Because I don't want any mess ups. If we need to sharpen the edges, we could do so by hand. But looking at it, spots where it's lifted, we didn't get much overspray, so that's pretty good. Let's let this sit maybe an hour or two until it's really good and dry to the touch. Not cured, but dry to the touch. Paint is dry to the touch. So let's just reverse the process here. Peel the paint. Because you're kind of cutting the paint as you're pulling this, so you don't want it to get messed up. Wow, that is cool, huh? You got a little bit of overspray here, but we can touch that up. That's not a big deal. Last but not least, the center. This is going to be a little bit tricky. Center now. All right, cool. Not bad looking, eh? Kinda cool. Got a little bit of overspray on it, but man, that looks pretty sharp. I don't think I've seen anybody have a barrel with a big old symbol like that takes up the whole barrel. So yeah, that came out neat. All right, so now we're gonna start working on the foaming process. But before we do this, I want to put lights in it and then add Great Stuff foam on top of that so it lights up the foam real nice. What I'm using, I got these on clearance at Walmart. Look at that, $3.50 for one of these cheapy 6.5 foot LED kits. So let's get this show on the road here. I'm going to do this. Go around the top of the rim like that. Actually, you know what we'll do? I think we'll just double it up a little bit. All right. Oh, there we go. Just leave it on green for now. Oh, look at that. That's gonna look neat, huh? All right, got my Great Stuff. Get my water bottle. And the other thing you're gonna want, other than a water bottle, get you some latex gloves. These are nitrile gloves. I don't know what the difference is. I think these are a little bit thicker. This Great Stuff sucks. Like, I'll paint barehanded and wash out paint stuff. Great Stuff does not come off. It is the most crazy stuff on earth as far as stickiness. I don't recommend it. Well, Gorilla Glue is pretty bad too. If you get the foaming Gorilla Glue, that stuff's super hard to get off of anything. I think what I'm going to do is leave a gap. All right, that looks pretty good, huh? Let this dry, set up a little bit. This stuff, once it dries, I don't think you can reuse this. Like, this straw like fills up with this gunk and then it's over. I think it's one and you're done. So let's start working on our skeleton and start doing our corpsing. I'm using a Great Form corpsing technique here. It's supposed to simulate foam with a Great Foam. I can make an intestine like that. Make the organs, shape it like that. Tricky. Just gonna kind of rub. noise a little bit. Open that up just here. Just top it. Looking pretty good. So I'm gonna wet him down real good. We could do a little sculpting here and there. Because he's got a long time before he cures. Get his lip real good, kind of curl back like it's been burning. Form his chin a little bit better, make sure he's got a good lip there. Basically we're adding definition to him, so he's not the Pillsbury Doughboy, it's more fleshy. The cool thing is when you add the water, you can see it doesn't really stick to my gloves that much. So you can actually sculpt and it holds its position a little bit better. I really like his eyes. I think these crazy eyes I put on him are kind of fun. Alright, let's get his arms more fleshy. I'm just kneading out the bubbles so it's kind of smoother and stretchy. You can hear the water because this is like a sponge. Gets down in there. Cut out his fingers a little bit. Just to build a crust. So if you take and add a little bit of water to that crust, it doesn't stick to your gloves as bad, and you can kind of sculpt. I love his organs. This is going to look so good. We're going to paint this all kinds of vile colors, and it's just going to be freaking amazing. All right. I don't want to get too touchy with this guy because, man, he's looking good. Now, we still need to do the backside, but 1 can of spray foam covered the entire 55 gallon barrel and pretty much almost the entire guy. I need a little bit on the back of his head and a little bit on his back, and yeah, after that it's gonna look faboo. All right, well, let's let him dry, and let's take a second look at the barrel. I didn't even turn the light off just because it looks so freaking neat. I mean, look at that. Let's make it dark in here, see what it looks like. This iPhone's really good at dark lights, but it's pretty dark in here. Let me turn this down a little bit. Okay, there we go. Now you can kind of see it. So you can see how the light starts to permeate across. I'm really happy with the way I did this. I think that is a good way to go. I will probably paint the top with the UV paint and then use some sort of UV light to help illuminate that a little bit. And you know, I got to do the outside rim a little bit and a little bit dribbling down like how everybody does. But it's looking good.